never thought an ordinary Wednesday night would be the last one I'd ever live to tell. The day began like any other, a blur of coffee, traffic, and deadlines. The hum of the city outside my apartment window was a comfort, a reminder that life pulsed around me, even when my own felt stagnant. I left work a little later than usual that night, the office fluorescent lights burning into my tired eyes. My boss had dropped another pile of last-minute tasks on my desk, muttering something about team effort before retreating to his corner office. By the time I packed up, most of my coworkers were already gone. The streets outside were slick with rain, the kind that clings to your skin, crawling down your neck like cold fingers. My umbrella had snapped last week, and I hadn't replaced it yet. So I wrapped my coat tighter and hurried through the drizzle, my heels clicking against the sidewalk, each step echoing in the damp silence. The walk home usually soothed me. It was 10 blocks of neon-lit windows, food carts closing for the night, and the occasional laughter spilling from bars. But that night the city felt different, quieter, as though someone had turned down the volume on the world. I noticed him then, a figure lingering at the far end of the street, broad-shouldered, his head tilted slightly, like he was studying the rhythm of my steps. I told myself not to overthink. It was a big city, people lingered everywhere. But when I slowed to tie my shoe, so did he. When I sped up, his stride matched mine. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message from my sister. "Dinner Sunday? Don't cancel this time." Relief washed through me. I typed a quick promise smiley face, and slipped it back, the glow of the screen a temporary shield. By the time I turned onto my street, he was gone. Just vanished into the mist. I shook my head, chiding myself for being paranoid. The lock on my apartment door clicked, the familiar creak greeting me as I stepped inside. The smell of rain mixed with the faint lavender of the candle I'd forgotten to blow out that morning. I kicked off my heels, poured myself a glass of wine, and collapsed onto the couch. My phone scrolled through endless news stories. Fires, robberies, tragedies I'd grown numb to. I set it aside and reached for the book on my coffee table. That's when I heard it. A soft scrape against the fire escape, like metal on metal. My building was old, the pipes rattled, the windows whined. I told myself it was nothing. But then it came again. Closer. A deliberate weight pressing on the steps just outside my window. I froze, wine glass trembling in my hand. My eyes darted toward the curtains. The fabric stirred slightly, not from the draft, but from movement, something brushing against it. My breath caught. I crept toward the kitchen, heart pounding so loud I swore it filled the room. My fingers found the handle of the largest knife in the drawer. It felt heavy, awkward, but it was all I had. The scraping stopped. Silence thickened the air. I waited, every second stretching like hours. Then nothing. I laughed nervously to myself, ashamed at how quickly I'd spiraled into fear. I set the knife down, turned back toward the couch. And that's when the knock came. A slow, deliberate knock at my front door. The sound froze me in place. 3 heavy knocks, each one dragging through the air like a warning. My apartment was on the 3rd floor. No one ever came up without buzzing first. My neighbors were elderly. They went to bed by 9. It was nearly midnight now. I stood perfectly still, clutching the counter for balance. My voice whispered into the empty room, as though speaking to myself might somehow make it all normal. It's just someone at the wrong door, that's all. But the knocks came again, louder this time. My phone sat on the coffee table 10 feet away. To reach it, I'd have to pass the door. My eyes darted toward the peephole, but I couldn't bring myself to look. Something deep inside screamed, "Don't." Instead, I forced my legs forward, each step like dragging cement. My fingers wrapped around the phone, screen glowing as I unlocked it with shaky hands. I pulled up my sister's number, thumb hovering, debating whether I'd sound crazy. Before I could press call, a voice slipped through the door. "I think you dropped something outside." My breath caught. My heart hammered against my ribs. I hadn't dropped anything. I didn't answer. The voice came again, lower this time. You should open the door. I just want to give it back. Every instinct screamed. I pressed my back against the far wall. Phone clutched to my chest. My fingers dialed 911, but I didn't hit call. What if it was nothing? What if I was overreacting? Then came the sound that shredded every doubt. The rattle of the doorknob twisting. Slow at first, then harder, shaking violently against the lock. Adrenaline surged. I bolted for the bedroom, locking the door behind me. My hands shook as I finally pressed call. The line clicked. A calm dispatcher's voice. 911, what's your emergency? Words spilled out in broken gasps. Someone's trying to get into my apartment. Please, you have to hurry. Stay on the line, she instructed. Where are you right now? In my bedroom. 3rd floor, Maplewood Apartments, 15th Street. He's at my door. He tried to open it. I pressed my ear against the wood, listening. The rattling had stopped. Silence. Then footsteps. Slow, heavy, moving away from the front door. He's leaving, I whispered into the phone, my body sagging with relief. But then came the scrape. Not from the hallway. From the fire escape. Right outside my bedroom window. My scream tore out before I could stop it. The dispatcher's voice sharpened. Stay calm, police are on their way. Find a place to hide. I shoved my dresser across the carpet, jamming it against the window. My arms burned, muscles screaming, but terror made me strong. The metal groaned outside, closer, closer, until the shadow of a hand smeared across the curtain. I can hear him. He's right outside my window. The dispatcher's voice grew urgent. Stay on the line with me. They're almost there. Glass rattled. A creak as weight pressed against the window pane. I dropped the phone, sprinted into the closet, and buried myself behind coats, knees tucked tight to my chest. My own breath betrayed me, loud in the silence. Then I heard it, the sharp crack of glass breaking. He was inside. The sound of shattering glass split the night like a scream. I pressed my hands over my mouth, shaking so violently I thought the hangers in the closet would rattle against each other and give me away. Heavy boots crunched against the shards, deliberate, unhurried. He was inside now, and he knew it. The silence between his steps was worse than the noise, like he was savoring the dread that filled every corner of the room. I strained to hear, every nerve in my body stretched thin. The floorboards groaned under his weight as he moved deeper into the apartment. He didn't call out, didn't demand anything. He just explored. A predator getting familiar with his cage. The dispatcher's voice still murmured faintly from the phone on the floor. I prayed he hadn't heard it. Then came the creak of the bedroom door opening. My heart stopped. He was in the room. I pulled my knees tighter, burying myself beneath coats, but I could hear him, slow, steady breaths, the sound of drawers opening, belongings tossed carelessly aside. Then a pause. Long pause. The closet door handle twitched. Tears pricked my eyes as I clamped both hands over my mouth. The knob turned once, then stopped. For a moment, all I heard was his breathing, inches away. My vision blurred with panic. And then sirens. Distant at first, but growing louder. My chest nearly collapsed with relief. The man muttered something low, a sound I couldn't make out. Then the pounding of boots as he bolted for the shattered window. I stayed frozen, listening to the chaos. The scrape of the fire escape as he fled. The wail of sirens closing in. The sharp bark of officers shouting commands outside. Finally, a voice thundered through the apartment. Police! If anyone's inside, call out. My legs wouldn't move, but I forced myself to whisper. Here. I'm here. The closet door swung open, light flooding in as 2 officers stood over me. One offered his hand. The other scanned the room with a drawn weapon. I stumbled out, shaking, my words tumbling over each other. He was here, he was right here, he tried to, It's okay, the officer said firmly, gripping my shoulders. You're safe now. We've got you. But the truth was, I didn't feel safe. Not even as they led me downstairs. The flashing lights of squad cars painting the street in red and blue. Neighbors huddled in robes, whispering, staring. I searched every shadow, every rooftop, terrified I'd see him still watching. The officers asked me questions. Height, build, voice. I stammered through the details. Tall, broad-shouldered, calm voice, deliberate movements. But the more I spoke, the more I realized how little I'd truly seen. They hadn't caught him. He'd slipped away into the night, leaving behind only broken glass and the echo of his footsteps in my mind. Back at the station, they promised patrols, follow-ups, protection. But as I sat in the sterile interview room, hands trembling around a cup of water I couldn't drink, a single thought gnawed at me. He hadn't come for money. He hadn't asked for anything. He didn't speak my name. He came for me. And he wasn't finished. They let me go home 2 days later. The window was boarded up, the glass swept away, but the scent of fear lingered in every corner. The officers had offered to place me in a hotel, but I refused. This was my home. If I left, he'd win. Still, every creak of the floor, every gust of wind against the boards made my chest tighten. I slept with the lights on, knife on the nightstand, phone clutched in my hand. I told myself it was over, that the sirens had scared him away. But deep down I knew better. That night, I woke to a sound I'll never forget. Not glass, not footsteps, a whisper. It slipped through the walls like smoke, soft and deliberate. Emily! I froze, my throat closing. No one had said my name that night. How did he know? The whisper came again, closer this time, like it seeped straight into my ear. Emily! I stumbled out of bed, knife in hand, phone shaking as I tried to dial. My fingers felt numb, useless. The boards on the window rattled, once, twice, then fell silent. I pressed myself against the far wall, heart slamming. The silence stretched on, heavy and endless, until I couldn't take it anymore. I bolted from the apartment, down the stairwell, barefoot on the cold concrete. The lobby was empty, but the front door stood wide open. Rain poured outside, pooling on the tiles. A shadow lingered just beyond the glow of the streetlight, tall and motionless. Touching. I screamed for help, but the streets were empty, the city swallowed by rain. The shadow tilted its head slowly, deliberately, like he was memorizing me. Then he stepped back, faded into the darkness as if he'd never been there at all. By the time police arrived, I was sobbing on the lobby floor, clutching the knife like it was the only thing tethering me to life. They searched the block, every alley, every rooftop. Nothing. It's been weeks since then. They still haven't caught him. I moved, changed my locks, installed cameras. But sometimes at night, when the world is quiet and the rain taps against the glass, I swear I still hear it. That voice. Just loud enough so I'll never forget. 'Cause he wanted me to live, to remember, and to always wonder when he'll come back. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends so they can enjoy it too.